Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mark Olmos here with Chief Stewards Brad Lewis, and we're just about to go through the Stewards report for what was a fantastic multicultural day, and with the headline act being the Basso Small Goods Group 3 Roma Cup. Now, Brad, we'll kick off with race 1 on the card, which was the hashtag Life in the Park played over 1,300 metres for the 2-year-olds. Now, we had a few here on the Stewards report. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, variation there, Mark. It raced keenly through the early stages, also lay outwards on straightening and trap for fools. Lucy Warwick put forward that colt never really travelled at any stage through the run. Trainer Al Smith will now send this colt for a spell, but we'll come back with some blinkers, so it'll trial with blinkers through its next campaign.
On to race number 2, the 5-star Wholesale Meets Handicap over 1,200 metres. A few in here: Wobbegong, Joyful Hope, Max Almighty, King River.
That's right, Mark. Wobbegong lay outwards in the straight. Joyful Hope caught very wide and tied in the straight. The vets did check Joyful Hope, but no abnormalities there. And Max Almighty, another one that was racing wide. And King River, it was held up until about the 100 metre mark.
On to race number 3, the Evolved Sprint over 1,000 metres, and Hold Your Tongue was fractious in the barriers prior to the start, Brad.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. And after that, it threw its head on jumping and lost some ground, and Kaliva caught wide through the run.
A few excuses there. On to race number 4, the Town of Victoria Park Community Handicap over the 1,300 metres. Now, there's a few that feature in here. Brad, take us through a few that feature in this report.
Yeah, that's right there, Mark. A number of horses held up for clear running in this race, but also Scales of Justice. It raced keenly, didn't settle through the early and middle stages of the race. Shady Grey was held up until about the 200. Reverend John never got clear at any stage in the straight. 12 rounds until about the 150. And Klondike Kenny until about the 125. And just like that, we saw it, the filly go back today, Mark. It drew out wide, and rather than get caught wide, it was steadied back to race in a reeled position today.
Race number 5, Pink Ladies Luncheon July 9 Handicap over 1,600 metres. Tarkin Shadow threw its head shortly after the start. Now, this horse has featured in the Stewards report a couple of times previously as well, Brad.
That's right, Mark. And after that, got onto heels at around the 1,400 metre mark and just steadied and had to come back and lost a little bit of ground through that section. Also impeded until about the 200 metre mark. From the barriers, young Lionel slow into stride and lost some ground, as did Tonto.
On to race number 6, the Italo-Australian Centre celebrating 60 years race over 1,400 metres. New Time was keen, Stag Night was wide, and there's a few others. Run Liam Run, who was a massive run after being bumped at the 300 and laying in.
It just got an early steady there too, Mark. Just some crossing in the early stages. So Lisa Staples, in anticipation, just steadied Run Liam Run. And yeah, got some minor bumping at around the 300 metre mark. That was when Jordan Turner shifted out on Moon Search. That caused some slight bumping there to Rorted, and also Jordan Turner dropped his whip at the 100 metre mark.
Now on to the big one, the Group 3, race 7, the Basso Smallgoodsroma Cup over 1,200 metres. Now, this race here, it was pretty clean. Lucky Grey was held up in the straight, and Dawn Approach was tightened.
That's right, and also Pat Carberry put forward that it didn't feel quite right in its action over the final 200 metres. It has vetted out sound at this stage. Lucky Grey, as you say, Mark, held up until about the 200. Battle Hero also was held up. Hazabeel was another one that couldn't get clear until about the 100 metre mark.
So Dawn Approach will be waiting for further word during the week?
That's right, we'll follow that up and get a report on this horse going forward.
On to the last of the day, race 8, the Basso Butchers Handicap over the mile as well. This race looked to be pretty clean, Brad.
It was, Mark. Glory Land raced fiercely out there in front, failed to settle at all, so that didn't help its chances. Saxapack was another one that over-raced through the early and middle stages. The Flirt, it was caught wide, had to work hard. And Tangiers, we saw it go forward today. It was out wide, so rather than remain in a wide position, Fiona Bell out at the stride forward.
Just to cap off this, review of the race day, the track played quite well with the rail out 3 metres, and we were racing on a good 3 surface, Brad. Yeah,
very pleased with the track and the way it's racing at this stage, Mark, so all goes well for a long and good season with the track.
Absolutely, every horse got its chance. It was magnificent. Now, as per usual, this report can be found on the Chris website.
Yeah, that'll be up soon, given we've had a pretty clear day today, Mark, so that'll be out in the net in about half an hour, I would think.
Keep an eye out for that, punters. Thank you for joining us for a wonderful multicultural day. We'll see you next week at Belmont.